Jesus, and of the love which ye have to all the saints.
Because we heard about your faith in Jesus and the love you got for all the saints. That's action. Go ahead.
For the hope which is laid up for you in heaven, wherefore ye heard before the word of the truth of the gospel, which is come unto you, as it is in all the world, and bringeth forth fruit, as it doeth also in you, since the day ye heard of it, and knew the grace of God in truth.
So the hope that's laid up you in heaven, wherefore you heard the word of the truth of the gospel when it started bringing forth fruit. Go ahead.
As ye also learn in Ephesians, our dear fellow servants, who is for you a faithful minister of Christ.
So here's this guy, Epaphras, a fellow servant, faithful minister of Christ. Go ahead.
Who also declared unto us your love in the Spirit.
And he told us what y'all was doing. Y'all had a lot of love. Go ahead.
For this cause we also, since the day we heard of it.
Since the day we heard it, go ahead.
Do not cease to pray for you, and to desire that ye might be filled with the knowledge of his will in all wisdom and spiritual understanding.
So since we heard y'all was walking this walk, we're going to continue to pray for you. Exhort one another. That you continue and be filled with the knowledge of his will in all wisdom and spiritual understanding. That's up here. What else? Verse 10.
That ye might walk worthy of the Lord in all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work, and increasing in the knowledge of God.
That you might walk worthy of the Lord. And how do you walk worthy of the Lord? You see your actions. What else? That's 11. We finished that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's move on. Let's go to 2 Samuel 16. Second Samuel 16. Now here's David, man. He going through it. The Lord is dealing with him for sleeping with Bathsheba and having her husband killed. So his son raped his daughter, raped his sister, and then the brother killed that brother. And then that brother that killed that brother is running his daddy out of town to take over his throne, and David is just going through it, man. It's like, man, what could happen next? And this is about to happen right now. 2 Kings 16, verse 5. What does it say? 2 Samuel, I'm sorry. I'm glad y'all on it, man. 2 Samuel 16 and verse 5. Read it.
And when King David came to Abiharam, behold, thence came out a man of the family of the house of Saul, whose name was Shimei, the son of Gera. He came forth and cursed still as he came.
So here's Shimei, right? David is at his lowest point, and this guy's out here cursing him. Go ahead.
And he cast stones at David, and at all the servants of King David, and all the people, and all the mighty men who were on the right hand and on his left.
And he throwing rocks too. Throwing rocks at the king, talking crazy about the king, and talking crazy about David's mighty men. And these cats was rough. You was not to mess with these guys. But go ahead.
And thus said Shimei, when he cursed, come out, thou bloody man, and thou man of Belial. The Lord have returned upon thee the blood of the house of Saul, in whose stead thou hast reigned. And the Lord has delivered the kingdom unto the hand of Absalom, thy son. Behold, thou art taken in thy mischief.
So because, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Because thou art a bloody man.
So now he on the outside looking in. He don't know the whole story. He don't know Saul was chasing David around, trying to kill him. David didn't mess with him. The Lord ended up dealing with Saul. But now he's just saying what he see on the outside, and now he think David is being punished for what he did to the house of Saul. But keep reading.
9. Then Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, said unto the king.
Now here's Abishai. He's one of David's mighty men now. Now he with the king. King David, a man after God's own heart. He got about 600 dudes following him. They should be on the same level. Go ahead. What did he say?
Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king?
Why should this dead, let me go over there and kill this dude, because he is out of pocket. And he would be in his right, because you can't talk to the king like that, man. But go ahead. What did David tell him? Yeah, finish now.
Let me go over, I pray thee, and take off his head.
He wanted permission to take this dude's head off. Please, David, let me go over there and do it. Go ahead.
And the king said, what have I to do with you, ye sons of Zeruiah? So let him curse, because the Lord hath said unto him, curse David. Who shall then say, wherefore hast thou done so?
So leave the dude alone, in other words, man. Leave him alone. The Lord probably sent him over here to do that to me. Leave him alone. Go ahead.
And David said unto Abishai and to all his servants, behold, my son which came forth of my bowels seeketh my life. How much more now may this Benjamite do it?
So this cat talking crazy, this ain't nothing, man. My son trying to kill me. So what can he say that's going to hurt me even worse? You know, it ain't nothing. Leave the dude alone. Go ahead.
Let him alone and let him curse, for the Lord hath bidden him.
Now that's some serious humility right there. Here's a cat that's cursing you out and throwing rocks at you. And he's a servant of God, and he took it. Somebody throw a rock at me, man, I don't know. Go ahead, man.
12. It may be that the Lord will look on my affliction, and that the Lord will require me good for his cursing this day. And as David and his men went by the way, Shemaiah went along on the hillside over against him, and cursed him as he went, and threw stones at him, and cast dust.
So he didn't finish, man. He wanted to amp it up a little more. What else?
And the king and all the people that were with him came weary, and refreshed themselves there.
Okay, let's go to chapter 19. So now, we're going to fast forward a little bit. Absalom got killed. David's in mourning. And Joab, he was a hothead, boy. He didn't, but we're going to read it. 19:1, read it.
And it was told Joab, behold, the king weepeth and mourneth for Absalom.
So they told Joab, David is over there weeping and mourning for Absalom. Go ahead.
And the victory that day was turned into mourning unto all the people, for the people heard say that day how the king was grieved for his son.
So now David was grieved for his son, so everybody else was sad because David was sad. Go ahead.
And the people got them by stealing that day, and the people got them by stealth that day into the city, as people being ashamed steal away when they flee in battle. But the king covered his face, and the king cried with a loud voice, "Oh, my son Absalom! Oh, Absalom, my son, my son."
So David was in serious mourning, man. His son was dead, man. He cried, "Oh, Absalom, my son, my son." But what did Joab say, man? Joab ain't trying to hear all that. Go ahead.
And Absalom and Joab came into the house to the king and said, "Thou hast shamed this day the faces of all thy servants, which this day have saved thy life, and the lives of thy sons, and with thy daughters, and the lives of thy wives, and the lives of thy concubines. In that thou lovest thine own enemies, and hateth thy friends. For thou hast declared this day, that thou regardest neither princes nor servants. For this day I perceive that if Absalom had lived, and all we had died this day, then it had pleased thee well."
So David, man, he said, "What's wrong with you, man? Your son was not only trying to kill you, he wanted to get rid of us too. And are you calling this a national day of mourning for him? You better get yourself together, partner, and go talk to the people." Go ahead.
7. Now therefore arise, go forth and speak comfortably unto thy servants. For I swear by the Lord, if thou go not forth, there will not tarry one with thee this night, and that will be worse unto thee than all the evil that befell thee from thy youth unto now.
So if you don't go out there and speak to the people, we rolling out. We done with you. So he went out and spoke to the people, man. Joab talked some sense into him. Skip down to verse 16 and read it. Now let's get back to Shimei because he's back. And he remembered what he did to David. Now he wants some mercy. 16, what does it say?
And Shimei, the son of Gera, a Benjamite, which was of Baharam, hasted and came down with the men of Judah to meet King David. And there was 1,000 men of Benjamin with him, and Ziba, the servant of the house of the house of Saul, and his 15 sons, and his 20 servants with him. And they went over Jordan before the king.
Okay, so now they're going to see David. He got Saul's kids with him, a bunch of servants. What else?
And there went over a ferry boat to carry over the king's household, and to do what he thought good. And Shimei, the son of Gera, fell down before the king as he was come over Jordan.
So now Shimei, I remember, he was cursing and throwing rocks at David. But now he's over there. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
And he said unto the king, Let not my lord impute iniquity unto me, neither do thy remember that which thy servant did perversely that day that my lord the king went out of Jerusalem, that the king should take it to his heart.
So he had a reminder. He said, Shimei, look, king, you know I was wrong, man. I wasn't in my right mind when I did that to you. But just have some mercy. Go ahead.
20. For thy servant do know now that I have sinned. Therefore, behold, I am come the first this day of all the house of Joseph to go down to meet my lord the king.
So he asking for mercy, right? Servant of God is supposed to show some mercy. But what about this dude, man? He just can't get it out of his mind what Shimei did to him. Go ahead.
But Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, answered and said, Shall not Shimei be put to death for this, because he cursed the Lord's anointed?
So he still want to kill this guy. Where's the mercy, man? Ain't he supposed to be a servant of God too? Under David's leadership? So what did David tell him? Go ahead.
And David said, What have I to do with you, ye sons of Zeruiah, that ye should this day be adversaries unto me? Shall there any man be put to death this day in Israel? For do not I know that I am this day king over Israel?
So it ain't no time to be killing this dude, man. What's wrong with you? The man asking for mercy. Ain't nobody gonna get put to death today. That's good. Let's go to Proverbs 15. Wait a minute. Yeah. Read 23, man. Read 23. I should have put that in there. 16 and 23. What does it say?
16 or 19?
19 and 23.
Therefore the king said unto Shimei, Thou shalt not die. And the king sware unto him.
So he showed him some mercy. You ain't going to die. Not today, you ain't going to die. But he ended up getting them anyway. Proverbs 15. I think it was Solomon that got him, wasn't it? Something like that. I think it was Solomon that ended up killing that dude. He told him, you stay here in this city and don't leave. Proverbs 15 and verse 1. Read it.
A soft answer turn away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger.
Okay, a soft answer turn away wrath. And that's what he told Abishai that wanted to kill this dude. Man, leave him alone, man. Leave him alone. Ain't nobody gonna die today. And that's with a servant of God as well. Somebody in your face, try talking nice to him, see what happens. It's hard though. I know it's hard. What else, man?
Verse 2. The tongue of the wise uses knowledge aright.
The tongue of the wise uses what? Knowledge. Because he gonna think before he speaks. What else?
But the mouth of fools pours out foolishness.
But the mouth of a fool pours out foolishness. And you don't know if somebody's a fool till they open their mouth. Let's move on. Matthew 12. Matthew chapter 12. And pick it up at verse 36. 12 and 36. What does that say?
But I say unto you, that every idle word that man shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment.
So be careful what you say. Be careful, because every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give an account for in the day of judgment. 37.
For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned.
So it's whatever you say, remember, your words are going to justify you and they're going to condemn you. So be careful what you say, especially who you say it to. 1 Samuel 18. That's why even in the midst of all this wickedness, a servant of God is supposed to behave himself. People get caught up in that loose conversation on the job. Separate yourself from it. Don't feed into it. Because next thing you know, you saying some things that you ain't supposed to be saying. Reminiscing to them about some of the stuff you used to do just to engage in the conversation. Verse 5, what does it say, man?
And David went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely.
So here's David. Wherever Saul sent him, David conducted himself accordingly. He behaved himself wisely. What else?
And Saul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people.
So he had a good job. Set him over the men of war, and the people, they liked David, man. David was a good, cool cat, wasn't he? Got along with everybody. Go ahead.
And also in the sights of Saul's servants. And it came to pass as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, that the women came out of all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing, to meet King Saul with tabrets, with joy, and with instruments of music.
So after the battle of the Philistines, they returning from the battle. And here's King Saul and David, and the women is coming out with tabrets and music and dancing, and they singing. What they sing in verse 7.
And the women answered one another as they played and said, Saul hath slain his thousands, and David his 10,000.
Saul didn't like that. They giving David more credit than him, and he the king. Go ahead.
And Saul was very wroth.
And he was mad. Go ahead.
And the saying displeased him.
And he didn't like what they were singing. Go ahead.
And he said, They have ascribed unto David 10,000s, and to me they have ascribed but thousands. And what can he have more but the kingdom?
So now he done elevated. Now he think this guy gonna take my kingship. I better keep an eye on him, because he's my enemy, right? What do they say? Keep your enemies closer. Go ahead.
And Saul eyed David from that day forward. And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from God came upon Saul, and he prophesied in the midst of the house, and David played with his hands as at other times, and there was a javelin in Saul's hand.
So Saul got the evil spirit on him, and he prophesied. Now he got an evil spirit on him. He couldn't be prophesying nothing good. And just like when the evil spirit was on him, David came in and played the harp. And there was a javelin in Saul's hand. And what was Saul thinking? Verse 11.
And Saul cast the javelin, for he said, I will smite David, even to the wall with it. And David avoided it with his...
So now he doing practice. He throwing the javelin, like, I'm gonna get David. And David was like, okay, the music ain't working no more. I better get out of here. Go ahead.
And David avoided out of his presence twice. And Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with him and was departed from Saul.
So he was scared of David, man. Go ahead.
Therefore Saul removed him from him and made him his captain over thousands. And he went out and came in before the people. And David behaved himself wisely in all his ways, and the Lord was with him.
So even David, he still behaved himself. Even when this Saul was trying to kill him. Go ahead.
15. Wherefore when Saul saw that he behaved himself very wisely, he was afraid of him. But all Israel and Judah loved David, because he went out and came in before them.
So because David didn't react to what Saul was trying to do to him, he was more afraid of him. More afraid of him because he behaved himself. Go to Psalm 131. So David knew how to deal with Saul. Oops. Psalm 131 and verse 1. That's so funny, man. It's going to happen again, too. Psalm 131 and verse 1. Read it.
Lord, my heart is not haughty, nor my eyes lofty. Neither do I exercise myself in great matters, or in things too high for me.
So, Lord, my heart is not haughty, my eyes lofty. I don't get into stuff that I don't need to be in. Go ahead.
Surely I behaved and quieted myself as a child that is weaned of his mother. My soul is even as a weaned child.
And that's the mindset we're supposed to have as a servant of God. Humble. Like a weaned child. A weaned child don't know nothing. I have behaved and quieted myself like a child that is weaned from his mama. Let's go to Micah 3. So that's how we're supposed to act, like a weaned baby. And that's a work in progress. Micah 3 and verse 1. Wait a minute, let me get that. Okay, read it.
And I said, Hear, I pray you, O heads of Jacob, and ye princes of the house of Israel. It is not for you to know judgment.
So here, old Jacob, and the prince of the house here, it's not for you to know judgment. You're supposed to know what's right. Go ahead.
Who hate the good.
But you don't. You hate good. Go ahead.
And love the evil.
And love evil. That's totally opposite of a servant of God. What else?
Who pluck off their skin from off them, and their flesh from off their bones. Who also eat the flesh of my people, and flay their skin from off them. And they break their bones, and chop them in pieces, as for the pot, and as flesh within the cauldron.
So he ain't talking about they cutting people up and making soup out of them. He talking about, look, y'all hate good and you love evil, and you teaching the people to do the same thing. Your actions, they are acting just like you. And by them acting wicked like you, it's like you cutting them up and making soup out of them, man. Verse 4, go ahead.
Then shall they cry unto the Lord.
And they going to cry to the Lord, go ahead.
But he will not hear them.
But he ain't going to hear them.
He will even hide his face from them at that time, as they have behaved themselves ill in all their doings.
And he going to hide his face because they did what? Behaved themselves ill. And nobody wakes up doing wrong. You got to think about it first. You got to think about it. 2 Thessalonians. So if you're supposed to have a new mind and the new thoughts, then you shouldn't be thinking like the old mind and having them same old thoughts. that you used to have. Oops. Second Thessalonians 3, man. What that say? Verse 6. Read that. What it say?
Now we command you, brethren, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that ye withdraw yourselves from every brother that walketh disorderly, and not after the tradition which he have received of us.
Okay, so he's telling the Thessalonians, look, because you know you're going to have some problems within the body. And he said, we command you in the name of Jesus that withdraw yourself from every brother. Wait a minute, there's brothers that's walking crazy? Yes, they are. Every brother that walketh disorderly and not after tradition which ye have received from us. Go ahead.
7. For yourselves know how we ought to follow. For yourselves know how ye ought to follow us. For we have behaved not ourselves disorderly among you.
So you know how to follow us, because when we was among you, we behaved ourselves. Go ahead.
Neither did we eat any man's bread for naught, but wrought with labor and travail night and day, that we might not be chargeable to any of you.
So we didn't come in and say, give me something to eat. We went out there and worked with you. And then we ate with you. We put the work in too. Go ahead.
9. Not because we have not power, but to make ourselves an ensample unto you to follow us.
I don't think we couldn't have did that, because we got the power to do that, man. We coming in, hey, give me something to eat. All right. Now we can go to work. But we wanted to be an example, right? Go ahead.
Verse 10. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you. If ye would not work, neither should he eat.
You don't work, you don't eat. So we went out there and we worked with you so I can eat. And we could all eat together. Go ahead.
11. For we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly, working not at all, but are busybodies.
So we hear there's somebody among you that are walking disorderly. They don't work, they don't do nothing. They just busybodies. Go ahead.
12. Now them that are such we command and exhort by our Lord Jesus Christ, that with quietness they work and eat their own bread. 13. But ye brethren, be not weary in well doing.
But brethren, don't be tired of doing what's right. It's like we have, every year we had an all hands cleanup right before each feast. And all them hands we got in the class, only a few fingers show up. Just a few. But somebody got to do the work, right? But go ahead, man.
14. And if any man obey not our words by this epistle, note that man, and have no company with him, that he may be ashamed.
So the ones that ain't trying to do what's written, the book say make a note on them, and don't have no company with them. Separate yourself from them. Go ahead.
Yet count him not as an enemy.
Don't count him as an enemy, but what?
But admonish him as a brother.
Well, at the same, you got to admonish him as a brother. And that's the mindset a servant God's supposed to have. Because you got